In a beautiful palace that shone under the morning sun, the Sheikh prepared a special gathering. The palace was large, with tall golden pillars and windows that let in streams of light. The air smelled faintly of flowers from the gardens outside. The walls were decorated with colorful carpets and beautiful paintings. Every corner of the palace showed care, wealth, and history. The Sheikh, a kind and wise man, had decided to test his staff. He wanted to see who among them could understand and answer a question in Arabic. This was not an ordinary question. It required knowledge, patience, and calm thinking. Many of the palace staff had worked there for years, but few had learned Arabic well. The Sheikh was curious to know if anyone would truly surprise him with their answer. Among the staff was a young maid named Amina. She was quiet and soft-spoken. She worked carefully, cleaning the rooms, arranging the furniture, and helping with small tasks. Amina was not noticed much because she kept to herself. She did not speak loudly, and she never tried to impress anyone. She simply did her work and moved silently through the palace halls. What most people did not know was that Amina had learned Arabic from her grandfather. He loved reading stories and poems in Arabic and would tell her tales of history and wisdom. Amina had listened carefully, memorizing words and learning their meanings. She loved the beauty of the language and often practiced when no one was watching. That morning, the Sheikh called all the staff to the main hall. The hall was wide and high, with chandeliers that sparkled like stars. Everyone had to stand in a line, waiting for the test. The cooks, the gardeners, the guards, and the other maids all looked nervous. Some whispered to each other, trying to guess what kind of question the Sheikh would ask. The Sheikh entered the hall with calm confidence. His robes were white and clean, and his headpiece was decorated with a small golden jewel. He looked at everyone carefully, as if he could see into their hearts. Then he spoke in a serious voice. "Today, I will ask one question in Arabic. Only the one who truly understands will be able to answer it. Speak wisely and speak truthfully." The staff shifted nervously. Many of them wanted to show they could speak Arabic. Some had practiced a few phrases before, but they knew they were not fluent. They worried that they might fail or embarrass themselves. Amina stood quietly at the back, her hands folded. Her heart beat faster, but she felt calm inside. She knew she could answer because she understood the language, not because she had memorized words like the others. The Sheikh began speaking in Arabic. His words were slow and clear, but the meaning was hidden in wisdom. Many tried to answer quickly, hoping to impress him. Their voices shook, and some gave wrong answers. The hall grew tense. Everyone watched each other, surprised that no one could respond correctly. Amina took a deep breath. She stepped forward with a gentle but confident step. She looked at the Sheikh and spoke clearly, using the exact words that were expected. Her voice was calm, steady, and confident. The room became completely silent. No one had imagined that the quiet maid, who seemed so ordinary, could know the answer. The Sheikh's eyes widened, and a small smile appeared on his face. "Interesting," he said. "Very interesting indeed. You have surprised us all." Amina bowed respectfully, feeling a mix of pride and nervousness. She had only wanted to do her best, but now everyone was staring at her with admiration. The other staff could hardly believe it. Some whispered to each other, saying how clever she was. Others shook their heads, surprised that someone they had ignored could be so knowledgeable. Amina returned to her place quietly, but inside, she felt a warm joy. She knew her grandfather would have been proud to see her answer. From that moment, Amina felt that something in the palace had changed. People began to notice her in a new way. The Sheikh himself seemed pleased and curious about her abilities. The day had started as any other, but it ended with wonder, respect, and a secret admiration for the quiet maid who had answered the question in Arabic. After the surprising answer, the palace hall was still quiet. Everyone was thinking about what had just happened. The Sheikh looked at Amina with interest. He had seen many staff members over the years, but none had shown the kind of calm intelligence she displayed. It was unusual for a young maid to answer so confidently. The Sheikh waved his hand, inviting everyone to sit. The hall had long benches, decorated with soft cushions and colorful cloths. The staff slowly took their seats, their eyes still on Amina. Even the guards, who usually looked serious and strict, were curious. They had worked with her for months and had never noticed how clever she could be. Amina returned to her corner quietly. She felt nervous, but also proud. She did not know what the Sheikh would do next, but she knew she had done her best. Her hands were folded, and she kept her eyes on the floor, trying to stay humble. The Sheikh spoke again, this time in a calm voice that filled the room. Amina, your answer shows intelligence and understanding. I would like to know more about you. Tell us how you learned Arabic and why it is important to you. Amina was surprised. She had not expected the Sheikh to ask her personally. She looked up and smiled softly. My grandfather taught me, she said. He loves stories and poems. I listen to him every day. I learned that language can show respect and care. I also love learning from stories because they teach lessons about life and people. The Sheikh nodded, listening carefully. He seemed pleased with her words. Knowledge is a gift, he said. It is not just for study, but for helping others and understanding the world. You show wisdom beyond your age. This is very rare. The staff began to whisper among themselves. Some looked at Amina with new respect. Others were curious about her story. How could someone so quiet and simple have such knowledge? Even the cooks, who had only seen her cleaning and arranging meals, were impressed. One of the palace teachers, a kind woman named Fatma, stood up. She had watched Amina closely. Sheikh, she said, Amina has always been respectful and careful. But I see now that she has a mind that loves learning. She pays attention and practices what she loves. This is why she could answer your question correctly. The Sheikh smiled. Yes, Fatima, that is true. It is rare to see patience and learning in such a young person. Today, you have all learned an important lesson. Knowledge is not only in those who speak loudly or show off. True understanding is quiet, humble, and strong. Amina felt a warm glow inside her. She had worked hard, but no one had ever noticed her in this way. Now, she felt a connection with the Sheikh and the teachers. She realized that kindness and learning could open doors she had never imagined. The Sheikh continued, From today, Amina will have a special role in the palace. She will help with teaching and organizing stories and knowledge for all of you. This is not a reward only for her, but a chance for all to learn together. The staff looked surprised. They had never expected the Sheikh to give such an honor to a maid. Some smiled and nodded, thinking that it was fair. Others looked amazed, unsure what this new role would mean. Amina felt nervous, but happy. She had never dreamed of such recognition. Her heart raced, but she stood quietly, bowing her head respectfully. She promised herself to do her best and honor the trust given to her. The Sheikh then asked everyone to leave the hall slowly and continue their work. Remember, he said, learning can come from anyone, and wisdom is often hidden in quiet places. Today, we have all seen this truth. As the staff moved away, Amina remained for a moment, looking at the golden walls and sunlight streaming in. She thought of her grandfather and the stories he had told her. She whispered softly, I hope I can make you proud. From that day, Amina's life in the palace began to change. People started noticing her kindness and intelligence. Children would ask her to tell stories. Teachers would ask her opinion on lessons. Even the Sheikh would speak with her from time to time, asking simple questions that led to longer conversations. The quiet maid had become a symbol of patience, learning, and respect. Her life was still simple, but now it was filled with small moments of pride and happiness. Everyone in the palace began to realize that sometimes the smallest voice could have the greatest wisdom. After the Sheikh's announcement, Amina returned to her duties with a quiet smile. Though her tasks were the same, she felt different inside. She had earned respect and trust, and now she carried a sense of purpose. She walked carefully through the palace halls, her head slightly bowed, but her heart felt light. The palace staff began to notice changes as well. The cooks would greet her with friendly smiles, and the children who lived in the palace would run to her for stories. Even the gardeners and guards, who had never spoken much to her, now nodded with respect as she passed. Amina had never expected this attention, but she accepted it with humility. One morning, the Sheikh asked Amina to join him in the palace library. The library was a large, quiet room filled with books, scrolls, and beautiful manuscripts. Sunlight poured in through tall windows, casting a warm glow on the polished floors. Amina walked carefully among the shelves, feeling awe at the thousands of books around her. The Sheikh spoke gently. "Amina, I want you to help me organize the knowledge in this palace. You will read, learn, and teach what you know to others. You will also help us understand the stories and lessons hidden in these books. I believe you have the patience and wisdom for this task." Amina felt her heart beat faster. She had never imagined such a responsibility. She bowed respectfully and replied, "I will do my best, Sheikh. I will learn and share knowledge with care." The Sheikh nodded. "Remember, this is not only for you. It is for everyone in this palace. Knowledge must be shared, and learning is more valuable when it helps others." From that day, Amina's mornings began in the library. She would dust the books carefully, arrange them by topic, and read stories that taught lessons about kindness, honesty, and courage. Sometimes she would read alone, practicing her Arabic and understanding the deeper meaning of each story. Other times, she would gather the younger staff and children to tell them stories in simple words, making sure everyone understood the lessons. Her calm and gentle way of teaching soon caught the attention of everyone in the palace. The children loved listening to her stories because she spoke slowly and made every detail clear. The staff enjoyed learning from her because she explained even difficult words with patience. Amina's voice became a bridge between the wisdom of old stories and the curiosity of those who wanted to learn. One day, a problem arose in the palace. A shipment of important letters had arrived, but no one could read them properly. The letters were written in Arabic, with formal words that even some of the older staff found difficult. Everyone felt worried. The Sheikh looked concerned as he glanced at the papers. Amina stepped forward quietly. "I can read these letters," she said softly. The staff looked at her with surprise. Many thought the letters were too difficult, even for someone who knew Arabic well. The Sheikh smiled. "Then please do," he said. Amina carefully opened the letters. She read each word slowly, making sure she understood the meaning. She explained the content to the Sheikh and the staff in simple words. Everyone listened carefully, impressed by how clearly she shared the information. Thanks to her, the letters were understood, and important decisions could be made quickly. From that moment, people began to trust her even more. They realized that knowledge combined with patience and humility could solve problems faster than pride or loud words. Amina felt proud, but stayed humble. She knew she was only doing her duty and wanted to continue helping wherever she could. Even the Sheikh spoke to her more often. Sometimes, he asked simple questions about the stories she read. Other times, he asked for advice on organizing the palace library. Amina listened carefully and shared her thoughts respectfully. The Sheikh admired her wisdom and calm nature. He began to believe that Amina could one day teach others not only in the palace, but in the city as well. The quiet maid who had once been unnoticed was now becoming a guide for knowledge, learning, and understanding. She taught everyone that intelligence was not about showing off or speaking loudly, but about patience, care, and respect. Every day, more people began to see her value, and the palace became a place where learning and wisdom were shared freely. Amina felt happy. She understood that her life had changed, but she remained the same humble girl who loved stories and learning. She knew the real reward was not attention or respect, but the joy of helping others understand and grow. As days passed, Amina's presence in the palace became more noticeable. The staff and children no longer saw her as just a maid. They saw her as someone wise and helpful. Her quiet nature had a calming effect, and her knowledge of Arabic and stories made her a unique guide for everyone in the palace. One morning, the Sheikh called a special meeting in the hall. He wanted all the staff to attend. The chandeliers sparkled in the sunlight, and the walls echoed with soft footsteps as everyone gathered. The guards, cooks, teachers, and maids stood quietly, waiting to hear what the Sheikh would say. The Sheikh's eyes were bright. He looked at everyone and spoke slowly. "I have watched how Amina has helped all of you. She reads letters, teaches stories, and explains lessons with patience. I have seen how she solves problems quietly and respectfully. Today, I want to give her a new responsibility." The staff whispered among themselves. They wondered what could be next for Amina. She had already shown great wisdom, but they were curious what the Sheikh had in mind. Amina stood quietly at the back, feeling nervous. She did not expect more responsibility, but she knew the Sheikh's words were kind and serious. The Sheikh continued, "Amina will now organize a learning circle. Every week, she will teach stories and lessons to anyone who wants to learn. This is an opportunity for everyone to improve themselves, not only in Arabic, but also in understanding kindness, patience, and respect. She will guide you, and I trust her completely." Everyone was surprised and excited. The teachers nodded, happy to have help from someone so patient. The younger staff smiled, looking forward to learning a gentle way. Even the guards, who usually focused only on duties, seemed interested. Amina felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. She had never expected such trust, but she bowed politely. From that day, the learning circle became an important part of the palace. Each week, Amina would gather a small group in a quiet room filled with sunlight. She arranged cushions on the floor so everyone could sit comfortably. She began by telling simple stories, explaining the meaning of every word carefully. The listeners asked questions, and Amina answered each one patiently. The children loved the stories because Amina made them feel alive. She described the characters' feelings and explained why they made certain decisions. The staff enjoyed learning too. Even those who were older and had worked for many years learned something new. They realized that learning was not about age or position, but about listening and understanding. One day, a young cook named Remai asked a question about a story Amina had read. Why did the character choose to help others, even when it was difficult? He asked. Amina smiled and replied, "Sometimes helping is not easy, but it shows strength and kindness. It also teaches us lessons we can use in our own lives." Remai thought carefully and nodded. Others in the circle also began to discuss their thoughts. Amina listened quietly, guiding them gently. She realized that teaching was not only about giving answers, but also about helping others think for themselves. The Sheikh would occasionally visit the learning circle. He observed quietly, watching how the staff and children were growing. He was pleased with Amina's patience and wisdom. He noticed that her quiet guidance encouraged respect, cooperation, and curiosity. The palace was slowly changing. People were more thoughtful, kinder, and more willing to help each other. Amina's influence spread beyond teaching. Her calm and kind presence made the palace a happier place. Staff began helping each other more. Children became more attentive. and even small disagreements were solved with understanding. Amina never sought attention. She simply did her work and guided others with care. Through her quiet actions, Amina showed everyone that true strength was not loud or forceful. It came from knowledge, patience, and respect. People started believing that learning and kindness could create more happiness than power or authority. Amina herself felt joyful. She loved seeing others understand and grow. Every week, when she returned to the library after the learning circle, she would take a deep breath, thinking about the lessons of the day. She felt proud, but she remained humble. She knew that her role was not about recognition, but about helping others discover their own potential. The quiet maid who had once only cleaned rooms and served meals had become a guiding light in the palace. Her wisdom, patience, and kindness were touching the lives of everyone around her. The palace was no longer only a place of wealth and beauty, but also a place of learning, respect, and shared happiness. A few weeks after the learning circle began, a new challenge came to the palace. A letter arrived from a neighboring city. It was a formal invitation for the Sheikh to attend an important meeting with other leaders. The letter was written in complex Arabic, with words that even some of the older staff found hard to understand. The Sheikh read it carefully and realized that it contained questions that needed answers before he could respond. He called for Amina. "I need your help," he said. "This letter must be understood, answered carefully. I trust you can explain it clearly." Amina felt a mix of pride and nervousness. She had helped with letters before, but this one seemed very important. She took a deep breath and opened the letter carefully. She read every line slowly, making sure she understood the meaning. She noticed small details that could be easily missed, and she considered what the Sheikh might want to reply. After reading, she spoke calmly. "This letter asks about our palace's plan for learning and education. They want to know how we teach and how we share knowledge with everyone. They are also asking how we solve problems and encourage kindness." The Sheikh nodded. "Exactly. Can you help me explain this in our reply?" Amina smiled softly. "Yes, Sheikh. I can write a clear explanation. I will make sure they understand how we work and how we care for everyone in the palace." She spent the next few hours organizing her thoughts. She wrote carefully, using words that were clear and respectful. She explained the learning circle, the way the staff and children were taught, and how kindness and respect were a part of every lesson. She described how everyone in the palace helped each other and how knowledge was shared with care. When she finished, the Sheikh read her letter. His eyes widened in admiration. "This is excellent, Amina. You have explained everything perfectly. It is respectful, clear, and honest. I am proud of your work." The staff, who had been watching Amina quietly, felt surprised and happy. They realized that the quiet maid who had once been overlooked was now helping the Sheikh with important matters that affected the palace and its reputation. The next day, a messenger arrived from the neighboring city. He had come to thank the Sheikh for his reply. He spoke highly of the explanation and praised the palace for its care, education, and respect. The Sheikh smiled, knowing that Amina's work had made a strong impression. He called her to his side and said, "Your wisdom and patience have helped our palace greatly. You have made a difference today." Amina felt her heart swell with joy, but she stayed humble. She knew she had only done her duty, and that helping others was the real reward. After that, the palace began to rely more on Amina's guidance. Whenever a difficult problem arose, whether it was about letters, stories, or learning, people would ask for her advice. She always listened carefully and spoke with kindness. She never demanded attention or praise, but her ideas were always respected. The learning circle also grew. More staff and children joined each week. They were eager to listen to Amina's stories and learn lessons about patience, honesty, and cooperation. Sometimes the Sheikh himself would join the circle, smiling quietly as he listened. He enjoyed seeing how everyone learned and how Amina guided them without force or pride. One day, a young guard named Bilal asked, "Amina, how do you always stay calm when the work is difficult?" Amina looked at him gently and replied, "When we think carefully and act with patience, we can solve almost any problem. We do not need to rush or worry. Calmness helps us understand clearly and helps others too." Bill nodded and smiled. He felt encouraged and confident, knowing that even difficult tasks could be handled with thought and care. Amina's influence reached beyond teaching. The palace became a place where people helped each other more, where work was done carefully, and where kindness was valued. Small problems were solved quickly because everyone listened and respected each other. Even the children learned to speak kindly and think carefully about their actions. Through her quiet efforts, Amina showed everyone that wisdom and patience could change the hearts of people. She had started as a simple maid, but now she was guiding the palace toward respect, understanding, and shared learning. Her gentle voice and calm mind became a light in the palace, reminding everyone that true strength and influence came from care, knowledge, and humility. Amina felt happy each evening as she returned to her room. She knew that her work was only beginning, but she felt proud of the changes she was helping to create. She had learned that true influence did not need power or fame. It came from helping others, speaking kindly, and always staying patient and thoughtful. The palace had changed because of Amina. Its halls were filled not only with gold and beauty, but also with learning, respect, and shared wisdom. The quiet maid had become the heart of this change, teaching everyone that patience, knowledge, and kindness could make a difference in any place. One bright morning, the palace staff noticed something unusual. A group of visitors had arrived unexpectedly. They were scholars and teachers from a faraway city, invited by the Sheikh to observe the palace and its learning programs. The staff were nervous. They wanted to show that the palace was organized and respectful, but they also worried that the visitors would judge them harshly. Amina, as always, remained calm. She was asked to help guide the visitors and explain the learning circle. She knew that her words and actions would represent not only herself, but also the entire palace. She took a deep breath and smiled gently, ready to do her best. The visitors entered the palace hall, which had been cleaned and decorated for the occasion. The chandeliers sparkled, and sunlight reflected off the polished floors. The Sheikh greeted the visitors warmly and introduced them to Amina. "This is Amina," he said. "She has helped us organize learning and teach valuable lessons in our palace. She will guide you today." The visitors looked at Amina with curiosity. They had heard that a young maid had made a great impression, but they were eager to see it for themselves. Amina led them carefully through the palace, showing the library, the rooms where the learning circle met, and the areas where children practiced reading and writing. She explained each step with patience, using simple words that everyone could understand. At the learning circle, the visitors watched as Amina gathered the staff and children. She began telling a story, one about honesty and courage. Her voice was gentle but confident. She explained the meaning of each word and asked questions that made the listeners think carefully. The children responded eagerly, and the staff discussed the lessons among themselves. The visitors were impressed. They had never seen such a quiet and simple person guide a group so effectively. One of the scholars whispered to another, "Her patience and understanding are remarkable. She teaches without fear or pride, and everyone listens." Suddenly, a question came from one of the visitors. "Amina, how do you remain calm and confident when speaking to groups much older and more experienced than you?" Amina looked at them kindly. "I listen first," she said. "I think carefully before speaking. I do not try to show off. I only speak to help others understand. That is the most important thing." The visitors nodded thoughtfully. They realized that wisdom did not always come with age or authority. Sometimes it came from those who were patient, observant, and willing to serve others with care. After the demonstration, the Sheikh gathered everyone in the hall. He asked the visitors about their impressions. "We are amazed," one scholar said. "The way she teaches, guides, and explains shows great intelligence. She has transformed this palace into a place of learning and respect. We have much to learn from her." The Sheikh smiled proudly. "Indeed. Amina's patience, knowledge, and humility have helped us create a palace where learning is valued and shared. Our example shows that true influence comes from care and wisdom, not authority alone." Amina felt a quiet pride. She had never expected to be praised in this way, but she knew that her work was not about recognition. It was about helping others grow and understand. She continued to bow respectfully and thanked the visitors politely. In the days that followed, the visitors left with admiration for Amina and the palace. They wrote letters of appreciation to the Sheikh, highlighting the learning circle and Amina's role. The staff felt encouraged and inspired, knowing that their palace and their young guide had gained respect far beyond its walls. Amina returned to her routine, organizing the library, teaching in the learning circle, and helping with letters and stories. She continued her work quietly but confidently, knowing that patience, knowledge, and kindness were powerful tools. She understood that every challenge, whether from visitors, letters, or daily tasks, was an opportunity to teach and learn. Even the children began to notice changes in themselves. They tried to be more patient, more careful, and more respectful. The staff also began practicing the lessons Amina taught, helping one another and listening more carefully. The palace was slowly becoming a community where learning, respect, and kindness were at the center of everyday life. Through this experience with the visitors, Amina realized that her role was more important than she had imagined. Her wisdom, humility, and dedication were touching not only the palace but also people far beyond it. She felt happy knowing that quiet effort and care could make a difference in the lives of so many. One afternoon, a small problem arose in the palace. A shipment of books and scrolls had arrived from a distant city, but they were scattered and disorganized. Some were stacked too high, others were dusty, and a few seemed damaged. The staff were unsure how to sort them or protect them properly. The Sheikh, concerned about the valuable books, asked for Amina's help. Amina approached the task calmly. She examined each book carefully, noting its condition and importance. She thought about the best way to organize the collection so that it could be used for learning and teaching. She remembered how her grandfather had always cared for books and taught her to treat each one with respect. She gathered the staff and explained the plan. "We will first clean each book gently," she said. "Then we will sort them by subject and age. Finally, we will arrange them on the shelves so everyone can find them easily. Everyone will help, and we will take care together." The staff followed her instructions carefully. Even those who had never handled books before learned from Amina's example. She showed them how to clean the pages gently, how to check for damage, and how to label each book correctly. Her patience and clear guidance made the task simple and enjoyable. As they worked, a young gardener named Semi asked, "Amina, why do you treat every book so carefully?" Amina smiled. "Each book has a story and knowledge inside it," she said. "If we care for them, they can teach us many lessons." Respecting the books shows respect for learning itself. The staff nodded, understanding her point. Even those who had been skeptical at first began to see the value in careful work. The palace library slowly transformed from a messy pile of books into a well-organized center of knowledge. Once the books were organized, Amina suggested creating small reading groups. "We can share these books with the children and staff," she said. "Each group can read together and discuss the stories." This way, everyone will learn from the books and from each other. The Sheikh, who had been observing quietly, smiled. Amina, your wisdom turns even small tasks into lessons of learning and respect, he said. The reading groups became a new part of palace life. Children gathered around to listen, staff participated eagerly, and even the older guards sometimes joined in. Amina guided the discussions gently, encouraging everyone to think carefully and share their ideas. She made sure each person felt valued and included. One day, a visitor arrived with a rare manuscript. It was fragile and written in Old Arabic. No one knew how to read it properly, and some worried it might be ruined. The Sheikh called Amina. "Can you help us understand this manuscript?" he asked. Amina handled the manuscript carefully. She read the old words slowly, deciphering the meaning with patience and attention. She explained the story to the Sheikh and the staff in simple words, showing its lessons about honesty, courage, and kindness. Everyone listened in awe. The manuscript had become alive because of her careful reading and guidance. The staff realized that Amina's wisdom was not only about speaking or answering questions. It was about seeing the value in every task, every person, and every piece of knowledge. Her calm presence encouraged patience, respect, and care in everyone around her. The Sheikh often reflected on how the palace had changed. The quiet maid who had once been unnoticed was now a central figure in learning, guidance, and respect. She had created an environment where knowledge was shared, care was practiced, and every person felt important. Amina herself felt happy, though she remained humble. She understood that her work was a journey, not a reward. Each task, whether organizing books, teaching stories, or guiding discussions, was an opportunity to help others and learn herself. Through her patience, wisdom, and kindness, Amina had shown everyone in the palace that even small actions could have a great impact. The palace had become more than a home or a workplace. It was a place of learning, respect, and community. Amina's quiet strength and gentle guidance had touched everyone, creating a lasting change that would continue for years to come. Months passed, and the palace continued to grow as a place of learning and respect. Amina's role became even more important. She organized the library, guided the learning circle, and helped the staff, children, and visitors understand the value of knowledge and patience. The palace had changed, not only in its appearance, but also in the hearts of everyone who lived there. One morning, the Sheikh called a special gathering in the hall. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, and the chandeliers sparkled. The staff, teachers, children, and even the guards assembled quietly. Everyone was curious. They had heard that the Sheikh had an important announcement, but no one knew what it would be. The Sheikh stood in front of them and smiled warmly. "Today," he said, "we celebrate the hard work and wisdom that have changed our palace. Much of this change is thanks to Amina. Her patience, care, and knowledge have guided us all. She has taught lessons not only in language, but in life itself." The staff whispered among themselves, proud and amazed. They had seen Amina work quietly every day, but hearing the Sheikh praise her openly was a new and special experience. The Sheikh continued, "Amina has shown that true strength does not come from power or authority. It comes from wisdom, patience, and kindness. She has reminded us that every person has value, and every small action can create a great difference." Amina felt her heart beat faster. She bowed respectfully and said softly, "I am grateful for your trust, Sheikh. I have only tried to do my best and help others learn." The Sheikh nodded. "Your best has been enough, and it has inspired us all. Today, I invite you to take on a new role. You will continue guiding learning and also help train others who wish to teach. This way, your wisdom will reach even more people, and our palace will grow in knowledge and respect for years to come." The staff and children clapped gently. They were excited and proud. Amina felt a warm glow of happiness, but she remained humble. She understood that her journey was not about attention or praise. It was about helping others, sharing knowledge, and spreading respect and care. Over the next weeks, Amina began teaching the new group of learners. She guided the older staff who wanted to improve their skills, helping them understand stories, lessons, and the importance of patience. She also continued with the children and younger staff, encouraging questions and curiosity. Everyone felt included, and the palace became a community of learners, sharing and growing together. Even the Sheikh continued to visit her sessions, watching quietly as Amina guided discussions. He admired how she listened carefully to everyone and encouraged them to think for themselves. He knew that her influence would last far beyond the walls of the palace. One afternoon, Amina walked through the halls, observing the palace staff working together. The kitchen staff helped each other with meals. The guards organized the gardens and shared advice, and the children practiced reading and telling stories. She realized how much the palace had changed. It was no longer just a home of wealth and beauty. It had become a home of learning, respect, and care. Amina thought about her journey. She remembered the day she had answered the Sheikh's question in Arabic. She remembered how nervous she had felt, yet how calm and patient she had been. That moment had started her path, and now she was guiding everyone with wisdom and kindness. She smiled softly, knowing that her grandfather would have been proud. She had learned that even a quiet voice could make a great impact. One person's patience and care could inspire many, and knowledge could spread like light, touching every corner of the palace. The Sheikh, watching from his place, called Amina to his side. "You have done more than I could have imagined," he said. "You have changed the palace and its people with your wisdom and patience. You are an example to everyone here." Amina bowed humbly. "I only wanted to help, Sheikh," she said. The Sheikh smiled. "And you have helped more than anyone could imagine." From that day on, Amina's story became well known throughout the palace and the city. People admired her not because she had answered a question once, but because she had shared knowledge, guided others, and shown that patience, kindness, and respect were more powerful than wealth or authority. The quiet maid who had once gone unnoticed had become a teacher, guide, and inspiration. Her journey showed that wisdom and care could change not only one life, but many. The palace remained bright and full of learning, and Amina's gentle guidance continued to touch everyone's heart. Her story became a lesson for all. True strength comes from patience, knowledge, humility, and the willingness to help others. The palace had learned this, and so had everyone within it, thanks to the quiet maid who had answered the Sheikh and changed their world forever.